everyone, this is Elizabeth, and we are back on October 3rd for another Halloween / fall card. That just means it can either be fall or it can be Halloween. And we're going to go a little bit more on the Halloween side. And you guys, this is going to be so easy. We're going to do a black and white theme, okay? No color, just black and white. So it's basically stamp in and be done. And for this project, I am pulling out Whimsy Stamps, the set called Attempted Murder. It comes with the crows, the branch, the pumpkins, and the lovely little fence. So let's get started. You're going to need a black card base this time, okay? You can have it fold this way, you can have it top fold any way you like. We're gonna, and whatever size you choose, just make your panel that you're gonna work on like a 1/4 inch smaller. Okay, so this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is 4 by 5 1/4. Just so we get a nice border, or you can even do bigger border. But you definitely want to show that black in the background. For our project, I have my fence and I have my pumpkins. Now I want my pumpkins in front of the fence. And if I stamp the fence, then stamp the pumpkins, I'm going to see the fence through my pumpkins and vice versa. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp our pumpkins, then we're going to cover them up just so we can stamp our fence and it won't show through our pumpkins. And actually, let me cut a few more masks because I'm thinking I need more than just 2 pumpkins. And in order to do that, all we do is we grab our masking magic, masking tape, sticky notes that are like full coverage sticky, anything you can think of that is low tack that you can stamp on, and then cut it out. So for me, I'm using my masking magic, and look, I had this beautiful little chunk left that was a little weird, and my pumpkins fit on it beautifully. So we just give a nice stamp. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect because we just want the outline so we know where to cut. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp a few of these because I don't know how many I need, but I just realized I probably need more than just 2 pumpkins. So let me fussy cut these little goodies out and I will be right back with you. Okay, didn't take too long, but I got 6 total, so 3 of each. And just like our fence, we want some items in the back and some in the front. So whatever we stamp and cover first will be in the front. Okay, so if I stamp that there and then cover it, and stamp that there and cover it, whatever I stamp over the top will be in the back. So I need to be careful that the ones I stamp in the front, their bottoms are lower because they're on the ground closest to us. I hope that makes sense. So with these being on the ground closest to us, we're going to have them close to the bottom, but not exactly, okay? So we're going to have those about there. When I'm using my stamping blocks and I'm, got multiple stamps, just make sure that you position them so you can see the bottoms. That's more important than the whole tops. Okay, so I've got this one on the other side and I can see the bottom, so I know that's going to go there. And then when I flip it over, and the other thing, you want to be able to flip it so that if you accidentally didn't clean that good enough, you're not going to accidentally stamp it again. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our VersaFine Clair. That's my nice black ink. Okay, and I'm just going to set it there. And we're going to start with the little skinny one. Just going to tap it in there, make sure it gets all nice and covered. And again, I just want to make sure that it's close to the bottom. Okay. And then we're going to flip and we're going to grab our other front pumpkin. Now this guy's going to be in the front. Little booger didn't want to get inky. Okay, so now I'm going to, not next to it, I'm just going to scoot it over a little, and I think I'm going to stamp this one just slightly off the page. Okay. Clean our little inky mess so we don't get it where we don't want it. And then we're just going to grab our little tweezers. This one started peeling when I was cutting it out, so this one will be easy. And we're just going to place it right over the top of our stamped image, just like so. Okay. We're going to grab one of these. And this is probably the most time-consuming thing, is getting them covered up. Because sometimes getting the tape to peel is a lot of work. So we're gonna tip that little guy right in there. There we go. So now we can go in with another stamp. Okay. And we're going to put this one, now this one is there. I don't want anything in front of it below it. So everything's got to be behind the bottom of this one. Okay. Because if I stamp this below it, it's going to look weird because we'll be able to see some of it. So we're going to just scoot it up a little, stamp it right there. Okay. Now that's all nice and stamped. We're going to cover that one. Thank heavens I can fast forward through this, because peeling the backing off was a bit of a pain. And then we just want to line that up. Okay. And then we're going to stamp a skinny one. And this one we can go right, where do we want that one? There. Okay. And I think one more pumpkin should do. Okay, and we'll do another skinny one. That should work just fine. So if you have troubles with these opening up, if you just set it on your glass mat or your mat, pinch it down really good, and then take your pokey tool at it. What it's going to do is eventually poke between the layers, and then you'll be able to slip it off just like so. Okay, so those little goodies are stuck down. Now I'm gonna do a little bit of ink blending before we get our fence on, because I don't want it stark white. Okay, but I do want our pumpkins white. So that's another reason to mask them off. I'm just using some black soot, okay, foam dome blender, whatever blender brush, whatever you have handy. And we're going to start right at the edges. And we're going to ink those up. Oh, man. I tell you, the ink and I don't get along. I'm not going to worry about that. You see that? I'm going to have that fence there, so it'll just look like it's part of the fence. Let me grab a sticky note for my fingers, because apparently me and black are just going to have a bad day today. Now I'm going to darken the bottom really good right there. Looking good. I'm loving that. Okay, so now we're going to ink up our fence. Now, the fence does not fit completely across, okay? But this particular fence has a couple of notches on this side. So this side right here. So I'll be able to stamp the extra onto that side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this hang off, and I'm going to stamp it there. But I'm going to remember that I can't stamp it below this first pumpkin, okay? Because if I stamp it below, it's going to look like that pumpkin's kind of floating. So I'm going to make sure that my fence line is behind this pumpkin, my first stamped pumpkin. Get it all nice and good and inky. Okay. So being able to see our black lines, being able to see our first pumpkin, I'm just going to go right off the page a little bit and stamp. Give a little pressure, let it sit there and get happy with the paper for a little bit. Introduce them to each other, and then we're just gonna lift. And it didn't stamp perfect right there, but that's okay. I mean, it just is fence. Okay, so now this side with the stick out parts, I'm just gonna ink up the last three there. Okay, and being able to see through, I can just pick a spot and stamp down. Okay. Oh, wow. That actually looks pretty darn good. Doesn't even look like it was too short for the page. So you can definitely use this on a slimline card or anything like that. And say it didn't have the little connector pieces, these little connector pieces, you could stamp this side, and then what you would do is you would put just a little bit of gap there, and then you would grab a black marker and just fill that in, just like we're gonna do, okay, with this little part of our stamp that had the little notch. Okay, I'm just gonna finish that. Maybe darken up that line there. And it didn't stamp fabulous because of all of the layers. I mean, there's basically 3 layers of paper right there where it's all stacked up. Okay, not a big deal though. Oops, don't cover that. We need that. Okay, so next step is get some branches in there. So we want our big branch that our birds are going to sit on. Okay. And we're going to stamp it this way so that I have the flatter part up top. And I'm going to stamp it way out there because it's an overgrown tree. Nobody goes into this gated area anymore. So we're going to have that like that. Then we're going to have our bird there. So let's get that bird in there first. And we can decide which bird we want. I think I'm going to put that little bird there. Or little crow. Just make sure he's all nice and inky. And then I'm going to pull it close to me. See if you can see this too. And we're just going to get those toes onto the branch. Nice and gentle, even pressure. Okay, and we're happy that his feet blend in. They're not sitting on top. Okay, so now we're going to come in with the same branch. And actually, I'm going to back him up just a little bit. No, I'm not. Yeah, I am. I don't know. We're committing now. We had touchdown. Oh, okay, good. I was worried about him being too close to that. Couldn't really see. Now, here we can see some of the tree through him. So all I'm going to do is take a black marker and go right over his color again. Okay. And that is a little feather out that way. Just color that in. This is a good way to get it silhouettes colored in if they kind of miss a spot. So this being just black and white, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and just hit the sides of these posts, because that's more of a shadow side. Okay. Now we're just going to add some ground. Okay. So I'm just going to add some flicks. Just like so. Our little grass. Because our grass would be in front of there. If you have a grass stamp, a silhouette grass stamp, you can definitely plug that in right there. Okay. And you can add some leaves if you want. I pulled them out just in case, but I'm not sure. You know what? We're going to do one leaf. Just to be kind of funny. There. One leaf. That's it. They all fell off except for the one. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Ooh-hoo-hoo. Our pumpkins. Oh, look at those lovely little pumpkins. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm loving that. It is a little stark white. That's okay. What we're going to do now is just grab a black colored pencil, because that's a lot softer. Hold on one second. Okay, I just grabbed our inexpensive Crayola, and all I'm going to do is follow the edge and accentuate the pumpkin lines that aren't there. And let's see if we can't smear that a little. Get it more of a gray color. Yeah. There we go. Woohoo! I'm loving it. Get that covered up before we have an accident. And don't throw your little masks away, okay? These you can stamp on several times. And what I like to do is I get my packaging that I store everything in, and I just stick them to the outside, just like so. Because they don't get moved around. I mean, it's not like I'm in and out of the drawer a bazillion times a day. So you get those on there, and then you just give them a little wipe. Make sure all that ink is nice and dried so that the next time you go and stamp, it'll stamp right over them. And you can stamp like 5-6 times on the same one till the paper starts to break down and not be fabulous anymore. And amazing enough, it does not leak through. I'm just gonna give this little guy I let him sit there too long. That's all right. I'll still be able to stamp with him. Okay, so now you have options. You can look at that with the black. Oh, I love that. You can set it down flat, or you can pop the panel up, because everything is kind of flat. I'm not loving how stark white those pumpkins are. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go very, very lightly. Very, very lightly. I'm not adding any extra ink. Okay, I'm happier. Made them a light gray instead of the white. The white was just too much. Okay. Oh, that's much better. Sorry guys, I just thought of something. And of course, oh, I have one left. Question is, do we want just a thin, oh, look at that. Doing black and white, we might as well do a white border. Look at that. That really makes it pop. So what we're going to do is just trim that down just a hair smaller than 5.5 by 4 1/4. So we're going to go to the 4 1/4, okay, because that's how big our panel is. And then we're just going to take, nope, the other way, because our panel is 4 by 5 1/4. So we're just going to go a hair bigger than 4. So there's our little 4 mark. So we're just going to go a hair bigger than 4. And then we're going to go to 5 1/4, and then we're just going to go a hair bigger. And that will give us just a hair around there. Look at that. Super thin little hair. Let's get that glued down. Okay. Yeah, glue came out pretty fast. So the most time consuming part on this is doing the little bit of fussy cutting for your layers. The masks that you make, but in the end it is so worth it to have your crisp images show up and be in a nice perspective for you. Oh, there we go. That's much better. And I do think I need to pop this up today. So we're just gonna do 4 little strips right down the page. Okay, just gonna peel half this time because I really don't want, oh, and then I did it that way. That's all right though. I really don't want to mess this up because we have such a thin margin. This will give me lots of wiggle room, and I think that is it. Yep. So we stick down the bottom part, and then we just open this up And you can send your tweezers down there. Just pull those little red pieces right on out. And then there we have it. Super quick, fun little stamping card. Well, quick once you get past the masking process, but yeah, I mean, if you don't have to mask anything, can you imagine how quick those would be? You ink blend, you stamp, and you're done. A simple black and white card. And this could be for fall, for your loved ones that like a little bit of darkness. Maybe they don't like Halloween, but I think it looks wonderful. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And don't forget, send me your address. Somebody in the comments or during my lives, anywhere, could potentially get this card. Email me at chatwithsassy@gmail.com. That is down in my description in the link tree. Also in Linktree, you will find links to the Facebook group, the Facebook page, and my shop. So check it out. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.